Welcome to Startup Health TV, where we celebrate the entrepreneurs and the innovators who are transforming health. I'm Logan Plaster, here with Neil Friedman from BodiMetrics, maker of CIRCUL, which I see you're wearing right now.
That I am, Logan.
I am excited to hear all about this, Neil. Thanks for coming to the studio.
My pleasure.
All right, so BodiMetrics, tell me about what you're wearing right now.
Okay, what I'm wearing right now is the CIRCUL Plus ring. Okay, and we've been distributing this ring now for about 4 years.
Okay.
And I'm very, very proud to say that recently, on the 29th of August, we received an FDA approval, and I believe we have to call it a landmark approval.
Okay, congratulations.
Okay?
That was just recently.
Thank you. And I want to explain about our business and why this is so significant for everybody in our industry. The single biggest problem that has been identified in the last few years is healthcare inequity. Right? And unfortunately, I'm a believer that we really haven't done too much about it, and I've been fighting the fight about it. So I want to tell you the history here and how together maybe we can make a change to approximately 30 to 40% of the population of our country.
Yeah, okay. Tell me about it.
All right, so first of all, it's important to know that the science of oximetry for the last 40 years has known about a problem that exists. And the problem that exists is that people of color, from Chinese to black, have been misdiagnosed by pulse oximetry.
Okay.
Unfortunately, during the COVID epidemic, everybody ran out, bought oximeters, their health plans gave it to them, their insurance companies gave it to them.
Those alligator clips
the
on
alligator
the finger.
clips, right?
Yep.
And everybody used that for monitoring. And frankly, everybody also used their wearable that had an SpO2 monitor for monitoring. Well, what we all learned was, unfortunately, is that hundreds of thousands of people died because of pulse oximetry that was inaccurate. Okay. A matter of fact, there were 2 landmark studies in the United States that started this. In December of 2020, in the New England Journal of Medicine, the University of Michigan published a paper called Non-Intended Racial Discrimination. In that paper, they pointed out that 17% of African Americans who used pulse oximeters were misdiagnosed.
Wow.
After that paper was released, a week later, CNN did a large piece on television about it, and then a week after that, the New York Times did a major piece on it. And then 3 senators from the United States, Wyden, Warren, and Booker, wrote a letter to the United States about non-intended racial discrimination and wanted an answer from the FDA, but they didn't get an answer from the FDA. It was terrible.
Wow.
Okay.
And just to clarify, it's because we're reading the oxygen in the blood through pigmented skin, and that is interrupting the signal?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And what it obviously did was that it overestimated the value of oxygen in people of color. And, frankly, as I've been fighting this fight, I have heard terrible stories, as I've worked within different communities about their aunties dying or their grandmas dying. And what ended up happening is that reality was our world was in chaos in this country, right? And people would walk into the emergency room, a doctor or a nurse would shout out somebody, say, "What's your blood oxygen?"
Gotcha.
The person would say 95%, go home.
Yeah.
Well, they went home and they never came back because they died. Okay? And this is a problem that we have to face and understand that it's been here, and this is racism at its highest level.
What I'm hearing you say is that there was just this systemic sort of broken piece of basic vitals that we were taking.
Correct.
And that we weren't doing anything about it.
That's correct.
Okay, so that brings us to what you're wearing right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when we did the development of this ring, we realized that we actually had the answer, the solution, okay? And the solution is, if I take you back before I talk about the solution, I think it's more important to talk about the word wearable.
Okay.
The word wearable is the incorrect word.
Okay, why?
Because wearable is just a wide category that's meaningless, to be honest with you. The word really should be sensors. All wearables have sensors. Okay. So let's change the word from wearable to sensors. Okay, and then let's talk about the different communities that use sensors. So we have the healthy people of the world. The healthy people of the world, and by the way, there is nothing wrong with any of these communities. I'm just telling you how they use it. So the healthy people of the world who use a Fitbit, an Oura Ring, an Apple Watch, for example.
Yep.
They want a great interactive app. They want to know a little bit about themselves, but they most certainly don't want to see anything bad about themselves.
Sure.
Okay? And these devices tend to move. An Apple Watch, a Fitbit moves on your hand, an Oura Ring moves on your finger.
Adjusting around, yeah.
Right, and an Oura Ring moves around like a wedding ring.
Yep.
So what's the difference? Why are we the healthy area versus the health area?
Yeah.
Well, since I'm holding the microphone, I can't take my ring off, but I'm going to explain it to you.
Sure.
Okay? So our ring is actually shaped almost like what I call a nut. Okay. And it's a half halo on top, and then we actually have two vertical drawdowns that pull down, and then our sensors are on the bottom, and then when you put the ring on, it pulls back up and stabilizes it on the finger.
I'll make sure we show an image or a B-roll video.
It's important to show that because
during the edit.
It's really important because that brings me now to the FDA approval that we recently got.
Got it.
Okay? Because the reality is the FDA is really telling us what this whole world is about. And I must read to you a section of the FDA approval because it'll bring a lot of clarity to this issue. Okay? So,
hit me.
Let's start with it. If you don't mind, I'm going to put my glasses down so I can read.
Go for it.
Okay. The CIRCUL Ring Pro Ring features a spring mechanism, and the elastic structure of the embedded sensors and inner arch of the ring are ergonomically shaped to offer a snug fit, preventing it from slipping off the finger, stabilizing the sensor on the belly of the finger, and minimizing twisting of the ring on the wearer's finger. This also helps reduce the likelihood of poor SpO2 readings in patients with darker skin pigments. Okay. So what the FDA has clearly said to us, it's not the numbers, it's the stability of the sensor. Okay. That is the game, okay? And that statement essentially fortified our patent. We have a patent.
Okay.
And that's exactly what our patent is about. Okay, so frankly, nobody else can get into the business and stabilize a ring like we can.
Interesting. Okay.
So that is really what this whole category is about, is stabilization. By the way, 2 weeks prior to our actual approval from the FDA, the Mayo Clinic released a peer-reviewed statement, clinical trial, stating that the CIRCUL Ring has no pigmentation problems.
Interesting.
So between the Mayo Clinic and the FDA, and frankly now the American Heart Association has gotten involved with us because, number one, they know that our ring has the correct medical metrics, and additionally, one of the things that we do on the ring is, and the ring does continuous SpO2, continuous heart rate, continuous finger temperature. I was
just going to ask you about the additional metrics, yeah.
So it does continuous SpO2, continuous heart rate, continuous finger temperature, continuous heart rate variability, and an ECG and blood pressure. Wow. And so the AHA has realized they always had the 7 points of health, and they now realize the 8th point of health is sleep.
Yeah.
So the AHA came to us to join because they know that we are the device that has the correct medical metrics and can monitor sleep overnight. Additionally, another very, very important thing in understanding the differences in the industry, very often people say to us, what is your battery life?
Sure.
Battery life is dictated by data, okay? So we give a measurement every second. So you have to charge our battery every 14 to 15 hours. For example, an Oura Ring gives a measurement every 15 minutes. So you have to get four days of battery life.
Got it.
But again, no pulmonologist, no physician will look at the metrics from an Oura Ring and make a diagnosis. Okay. So we'll call it apples and oranges.
Got it. Okay.
So now I'd like to move on to the next area of development in this.
And what's next?
The next thing that we're going to do, and can I ask you to hold this for 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great.
Go for it.
All right. So I've spoken to you about the FDA and learning about the importance of stability in a ring, okay? So people have asked us for a consumer ring to be competitive to the Oura Ring. So we developed it.
Okay.
And here it is, okay? But the big difference, which I have to show you,
Gotcha.
okay, is, as I said to you, stability is the key to your ring. So it's not a ring, again, it moves. It has 4 sides, and what it ends up doing is, by putting it on the finger, it stabilizes on the finger so it doesn't move. So what we're going to be able to provide to the consumer industry finally is a ring that gives them medical metrics in a consumer body.
Wow.
So watch out, consumer world, because once again, this is patented.
Wow.
Right? And there is no competition here. Additionally, what we're going to be offering in the consumer world is the ability to get a 15-minute measurement, if you like it, like an Aura, where you're really not concerned about really getting that key measurement. But there'll also be a toggle switch on the app, and you can switch it over to every second.
Wow.
And get medical metrics.
How do you think that a company like Aura is going to respond to this competition? Will they just sort of keep their niche?
They and 50 other rings that are coming into the business, because they're all coming into the business, have got a big problem. Because once people start learning, and really what's happened is there's a maturation process that occurs here. And we've seen it in our devices as people want more and more information. So as people are wearers of these devices, and they recognize the difference that's available to them, they have a significant problem, and they're going to be eaten alive, to be frank with you.
I think that's a nice note to end on. You gotta eat the competition alive. Neil, I love getting this update. I appreciate hearing where you're at. It's really exciting to sit down with you at this moment in time. The FDA approval, the introduction of the new ring. Here we're at an event where Aura has a presence, sort of thinking about the next evolution of I love what you said, toggling between a consumer sort of device and a clinical grade device, and then layering on top of that the health equity piece.
Can I also tell you something else that I'm very proud of that we're working on?
Go for it.
Right? I really like helping people. Obviously, I want to get this message out to the world. We're talking 40% of the people of this country are being improperly measured. One of the other great problems that we have in this country is a horrible thing that occurred in the wars that we have served, whether it be Afghanistan, Iraq, or Kuwait, and that is what we call the burn pit problem. And I don't know if you know that President Biden's son, Beau, died of cancer based on the burn pits, okay? And the burn pits are where we actually cleared area for our garbage and burnt the garbage near where our soldiers were. So what has happened is that the CIRCUL ring has become the detection device for all the veterans that potentially may have burn pit problems and have taken in bad chemicals into their chest, right? And hopefully we can stop it before it metastasizes and becomes cancer.
So you have a partnership with the VA?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're very, very excited
Neil,
about
it's very exciting. I love hearing your progress. We're going to be watching you closely over the next 6 months to a year and on, but I know this is an inflection point for you.
It is.
So it's very exciting. So Neil, thanks for coming by.
Thanks.
All right. Be well.